What if taking your sick child to the hospital meant you might never bring them home again?
Just imagine being in a psych ward without needing to be in a psych ward and just not being treated like everyone else was.
For the Pelletier family, that nightmare became reality. It began with a sick child, a loving family, and a desperate search for answers. It became a battle that would spark outrage across America, a battle between parents and the state, doctors and guardians, medicine and law. At the heart of it was a young girl named Justina Pelletier, whose story would raise questions about parental rights, medical authority, and the limits of government power. Justina Pelletier was born into a tight-knit family in West Hartford, Connecticut. She was a bright, athletic girl who loved skating and dancing. But by her early teens, her health began to decline. She developed digestive issues, weakness, and fatigue that puzzled doctors. Her parents, Lou and Linda Pelletier, sought help from specialists, determined to find answers. Eventually, doctors at Tufts Medical Center diagnosed Justina with mitochondrial disease, a rare and complex disorder that affects how the body produces energy. The condition can lead to a wide range of symptoms: muscle weakness, neurological problems, and difficulties with digestion. Treatment is not simple, and it often involves managing symptoms with a careful combination of medications, supplements, and therapies. For the Pelletier family, the diagnosis finally offered an explanation. They followed doctors' orders, hoping their daughter could live as normal a life as possible. But in February 2013, when Justina developed flu-like symptoms and struggled to keep food down, her parents took her to Boston Children's Hospital. That's where the story took a dramatic and devastating turn. At Boston Children's, a new team of doctors reviewed her case. Unlike the specialists at Tufts, these doctors believed Justina's condition was not mitochondrial disease. Instead, they diagnosed her with somatoform disorder, a psychiatric condition where physical symptoms arise from psychological causes. In other words, they believed her illness was not biological, but mental. The Pelletiers strongly disagreed. They trusted the doctors at Tufts, who had carefully treated her mitochondrial disorder. But Boston Children saw things differently. They accused the parents of medical child abuse, claiming the family was subjecting Justina to unnecessary and potentially harmful treatments. What followed was shocking. Within days, the state of Massachusetts Department of Children and Families was brought into the case. Justina's parents were stripped of custody. Their daughter was placed under state care, confined to a psychiatric ward at Boston Children's, in Kynes. Lou and Linda Pelletier went from being loving caregivers to being treated as abusers. For months, the Pelletiers were allowed only limited supervised visits. Lou described being treated like a criminal every time he came to see his daughter. Justina, meanwhile, was trapped in the hospital against her will, begging to go home. In interviews later, she recalled writing notes and letters to her parents, pleading for them not to give up on her. The case quickly drew national attention. How could a hospital overrule parents? Could doctors simply change a diagnosis and then claim custody of a child? The Pelletiers argued that their rights as parents had been violated and that their daughter was being held hostage by the state. Boston Children's, on the other hand, defended its actions. Doctors argued that they had a duty to protect Justina from unnecessary treatments. In their view, the parents' insistence on continuing treatment for mitochondrial disease was harming her. They maintained that Justina's symptoms were psychiatric and that she needed different care. Over the course of 16 months, the Pelletiers fought tirelessly in court. Supporters rallied around them, holding protests outside the hospital. Conservative radio hosts, advocacy groups, and even politicians weighed in. Some saw it as a battle against government overreach, an example of a state interfering in the sacred bond between parent and child. Others worried about the dangers of parents rejecting psychiatric diagnoses and clinging to unproven medical treatments.
Liam, the Pelletiers and Children's had drastically different ideas about Justina's illness, what caused it, and her treatment. Children's Hospital told Massachusetts Department of Children and Families that the teen suffered medical abuse, touching off an almost year-long court battle. Pelletier, we are committed to the best interests of our patients' health and well-being, according to the high standards we follow for every patient placed in our care. Justina was 14 when she went to Children's Hospital. Now at 17, she says she's taken up therapeutic horseback.
The family's frustration boiled over when Lou Pelletier, desperate to draw attention to their plight, broke a gag order imposed by the court and spoke to the media. His decision sparked controversy, but also brought the case into the national spotlight.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paula Eben. Now at noon, jury selection is underway in a Connecticut family's lawsuit over how Children's Hospital treated their daughter. Justina Pelletier was put into the custody of Boston Children's Hospital and held there for more than a year, something her parents say should never have happened. WBZ's Michelle Fisher has the story.
Things got underway this morning with jury selection, and the trial could take up to a month. The judge says 83 witnesses are being called as the jury decides if Boston Children's Hospital and 4 of its doctors were medically negligent.
The public was now deeply invested in Justina's fate. In June 2014, after more than a year of legal battles, the Pelletiers finally regained custody of their daughter. Justina was released from state care and allowed to go home. The family was reunited, but they were forever changed. Justina's health had suffered, and the scars of her ordeal were both physical and emotional. The case didn't end there. The Pelletiers pursued legal action against Boston Children's Hospital, accusing them of violating their rights and inflicting unnecessary suffering on their daughter. The lawsuit argued that the hospital's actions had not only worsened Justina's health, but also traumatized the entire family. Boston Children stood by its doctors, maintaining that they had acted in good faith and in the best interest of the child. But to many, the damage was already done. The case became a symbol of a larger debate about medical authority, parental rights, and the power of the state.
Tonight, in an exclusive interview, the father of Justina Pelletier, Lou Pelletier, is back with us after an emotionally difficult court hearing, being taken out on a stretcher. What was so upsetting inside that courtroom that she collapsed?
Everything we were hoping for to happen yesterday blew up. From finding out that the new medical facility, the people that were going to be in charge of her medical care, weren't going to be her Tufts doctors that the court had said was going to be her Tufts doctors. Instead, it was going to be UMass Memorial in Worcester, Massachusetts, who know nothing about her. Number two, that the constitutional lawyers we had brought in to assist us were being blocked from seeing her. Number three, which was crushing, to find out she's being moved from the facility she's in, which was in Framingham, Massachusetts, the Wayside facility, to a DCF-run facility in Merrimack, Massachusetts, called the Shared Living Collaborative, which is a purely psych facility, no medical.
Because they believe that this is that the folks at Boston Children's believe this is in Justina's head or in her parents' head, and it's been manifested on her because they disagree with the diagnoses that she received at Tufts. Our reporter on scene there, who was covering the case for us, told us that they could hear you, despite the reporters being banned from the courtroom. They could hear you almost a floor away, yelling inside the courtroom. What were you yelling about?
Between going back and forth, because my oldest daughter was obviously upset. Our whole family was enraged with what went on. Unfortunately, a neurologist and then a psychologist with their own agenda decided to say what she has is in her head. All of a sudden, as this was going on, there was 4 hallways coming into the nursing station. We can see security guards starting to come from every hallway. They were concerned about Justina's care and safety, and they had called DCF. And DCF was going to be taking over our daughter.
A mother's job is to be there for their child, and I can't fulfill that. So I feel lost.
Newton, who ran the child protection team at Children's, has seen previous cases where parents have managed to deceive the medical system.
You know, I think we all want to think the best of people, but these parents are extremely manipulative and have their own motivations for their child's illness.
If something is really unclear, it's very easy to blame them.
Justina Pelletier, once at the center of a widely publicized medical custody battle that drew national attention, is now living a much brighter chapter in her life. Today, she is doing well and continuing to make progress in her journey toward healing. Surrounded by the love and support of her family, she has been able to enjoy special moments that once seemed impossible. One of those moments came recently when Justina went horseback riding with her family, a milestone that symbolized not only her physical improvements but also her ability to experience freedom and joy again. For her loved ones, seeing her smiling and riding alongside them was a reminder of how far she has come, and for Justina, it was proof that even after years of struggle, hope and perseverance can lead to moments of true happiness. Justina's story continues to inspire many people who followed her case and worried about her future. What once seemed like an endless battle filled with uncertainty has now transformed into a life filled with new opportunities and cherished family time. Her ability to overcome challenges and find joy in simple activities, like horseback riding, reflects her determination and the unwavering support she has received from those closest to her. Each step forward serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, recovery and happiness are possible.
So now that you're back here at home and everything, how does it feel to be back?
Awesome.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Good. What was your favorite thing about that? What was today like? So you got up this morning and Jen came over and your mom was there and helped you pack?
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff. Then I got in the car and then a lot of people were calling and I seen you guys, and it was crazy. It feels so good to be home.
It must. What are some of the things that you missed the most while you were gone?
My family, of course, and my dogs, Roxy, Kobe, Sammy. They attacked me and good kisses. Oh my goodness, they're goofballs.
They are. So Roxy just came right up onto you and started licking you.
She missed me. She has to make up all those kisses.
Yeah, she's got a couple of, it was a year worth of kisses to make up there.
Mm-hmm.
You must have missed your sisters too.
Yeah, of course. Julia, Jen, and Jess, and all those. Jen, Jess, and Julia.
Yeah. Julia was without her roommate.
Yep.
Justina's story shocked the nation and raised urgent questions. Could this happen to any family? Who should decide what's best for a child, the parents or the state? For some, her case symbolized government overreach. For others, it highlighted the difficult responsibility doctors face when diagnoses conflict. Years later, Justina still lives with the challenges of her illness, while her parents continue to fight so no family endures the same ordeal. Her voice and her suffering remain a powerful reminder of the human cost hidden beneath medical and legal battles. The Justina Pelletier case stands as one of the most controversial custody disputes in recent history, a story of medicine, law, and family colliding with devastating consequences. What if this had been your child? Would you trust the doctors or fight the system like the Pelletiers did? Justina's case forces us to ask who should have the final say in a child's care. What's your opinion? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more powerful true stories.